Hi Sag, how you doing? I hope you guys are doing well. We're about to jump into your reading for the month of August. Um, Sadly, I wasn't able in getting these out to you guys before the first. I did my best, but my phone, you know, I don't know. I think it's classic Leo style, went up in flames. Almost literally went up in flames. um, and so I had to trust the universe to like bring something else to me in some way, shape, or form, where I can continue doing these readings, which it did. And it turned out actually being, a good thing. Um, and that's a little bit what I felt. I felt so peaceful during actually something that's pretty, stressful. Um, in the middle of, recording, which always is a quite intense situation. You know, it's energetically intense. I have to be in the right headspace and just overall balanced energy in order to get the best readings out to you guys that I possibly can at that time. Completely being disrupted by this hold, unhold moment. Um, but I felt this inner peace, like, oh, it's okay. Oh, it's broken. Oh, let me just get it fixed. Oh, it can't be fixed. Oh, you've never seen this problem before. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for your time. Oh, in 4 days, there will be a person 40 miles away in a store that might be able to take a look at it. Oh, well, great. Thank you for that. I might just look at other options now. And I did. And something, I swear, the device that I'm recording on right now, literally 30 minutes after. Yeah. Well, let's say I started looking, I went online, I started looking, and this device was basically put on 30 minutes before I actually started looking. It was right there. I was the first one to respond. It was a great person, great energy. And when, that by itself just continued to enhance both energies. And I'm not just sharing the story because I'm just oversharing how my week has been. There's a deeper meaning, otherwise I wouldn't go into these details. Because that's the thing. It's like when we pull back a little bit. Yes, obviously, the first thing that we would want to enforce and what we want from it, right? Such as you just go to that one person, it gets fixed, and you continue right on the road. You continue, you keep things the same, and that one thing that kept you from keeping things the same way and working in the same, loop, needs to be removed and or added. Something new needs to be added, and it can continue in that loop. But what if that loop no longer is meant to loop? What it comes to this hold moment, and all you feel is the urge within yourself of continue that cycle. That is the same thing with certain, relationships or certain jobs or day-to-day routines. You want that thing to be removed in order to continue to go the way that it goes. So all your energy instantly goes into, we need to fix it. We need to prepare it, fix this one obstacle, and continue it as it is, as it may. It's the same thing with, for example, when we're in the middle of a project or something, and it's busy and whatever, and then you catch a cold, like a big one, like a good one that kind of just lays you flat, literally. The thing is, yes, up to a certain extent, we can continue to make that cycle go round and continue to go. But at one point in that, spending so much energy to continue the same thing to go on, will only make you eventually, crash down harder. Meaning that at one point, the best thing in order to get better, in order to really, as quickly as you can actually have your health back, is to surrender to the fact that you do not have your health at the moment. And so you shouldn't have the same expectations from yourself as you may have if you would be in good health. And so surrendering to that, actually accepting, okay, I've catch this cold. I need to respond to whatever, entered my space, and I need to sort of trust and surrender to it. That's actually when the process starts to speed up. So it's always available. It's available. But our willingness to look beyond the first instinct is very important. The moment where it happened, and like I said, I got to learn that, okay, I need to fix this, and that me still thinking, it was just fixable, finding the right person to do it and make it, be good again. That was like my hyper focus, my main focus. My main focus wasn't on looking online for different advice. It wasn't there. It wasn't like, hey, let's instantly create a new loop, basically, a new connection. But at the same time, the moment where that answer came, it's like, it's not fixable. This peace came within me. It just came by, and I was like, oh, I like this feeling. And it's, obviously it's practice, and it's not something that you just do overnight. But, I do, in some way, shape, form, I train my brain to at least make it available in a moment of stress, de-stress, in whatever way, shape, or form, to bring in this other option, this other calmness, this faith, this trust, this patience, this surrendering energy. Yet the other side also, obviously, as being a human, having a human experience, the other side as well being quite equally as loud, or maybe even louder. But then having the experience of when I lean into that faith, when I trust, when I know that it's gonna come to me, it's happening for a reason. I wanted to get out before the first, but it's not really going that way. And that's as well something that I'm sensing really in your guys' energy. I feel something already ended. A loop, a situation, something kind of already ended. Your feelings already changed. You already are no longer investing the same time and energy in order to fix it. But the loop is kind of still looping. Right? Like sometimes it comes to people who used to be really close to us, and you kind of, the distance is already a little bit more there. Your feelings of like, this is, and that is the reason why I'm distancing myself, and the feelings kind of grow, and you are actually actively sort of, taking some space, all of that. But then the loop is still looping in the way that I'm feeling like the conversation still didn't, hasn't been had. You don't know if the other person is on the other angle thinking, why are they distancing themselves from me? Like, I have no clue. Like, I don't understand. I'm calling them, but they're not calling me back, or whatever way, shape, or form. Sometimes it does happen naturally, and it happens from both sides. And those conversations don't really need to be had. But when it comes to certain relationships, if your feelings already changed, if you already feel like my headspace is no longer in trying to fix it, my headspace is an opening up to the new, and actually starting a different, loop, basically, and moving myself all the way through another space. So either another person, or, you in a loop with another person, meaning, or versus moving into your own individual loop, right? So I'm feeling that already took place. You already know kind of what you don't want, what you do want, what you want to move away from, what you want to say goodbye to. And you also know why. But then I'm sensing when it comes to actually expressing yourself and being really open, honest, and having those conversations, that's still looping. And the other one, it's just like on hold, buffering, right? Which is taking up more headspace than you might think. Because I'm sensing that when I'm looking at you moving forward, you constructively looking at other options, you putting in time and energy into building and all of that, I'm seeing like really good energy. Like the wands are there and they're flowing, and the pentacles and the water is in balance. When I'm looking and tuning into that energy, but that sword energy is really, your commitment is no longer there. But sometimes we do need to have the commitment in how we end a situation, how we end it out, because there might be some more lessons and answers in there, and it frees ourselves. Or what I'm sensing, maybe there might be some feelings of like, if they do reach out, how you gonna respond? Because you already, know. So I'm gonna tune in when it comes to the tarot to just see, like, what the tarot is like to say. Let's see. It's like you took some of that, energy elsewhere. Like, you moving on to, a different connection for moving towards the Four of Wands. You just want inner peace. You just don't want no bullshit no more. And I can't blame you. I'm not at all. But when it comes to that Seven of Swords energy, it's like you leave them with an explanation of 2 swords when actually there's 5 more. And you don't need to completely show all your cards, but I don't think necessarily 2 up 5, it's really that great of a balance. So you might want to make a clean cut. Yeah. I cannot. You see the 10 of Swords and the 5 of Wands. Yep, I told you it's restlessness around the Swords energy. So that's that, it's the card of like the mind and the words we speak based on, the thoughts we hold. And it's 10 of Swords to me does signify an ending. So with this 5 of Wands, it almost feel like you're talking against the wall is what I'm hearing. Whoa. Yep. Once again, I'm not saying like, oh, it's a bad thing necessarily. You want to move forward, but understand, in order to really have this clean cut, you need to energetically, mentally disconnect from it. And I do think you have some stuff on your mind and you have some stuff to say. Okay, and this can come in many forms, but it's important that the message gets out there because it will set you free. Eventually, that message needs to be spoken regardless. We can do it ourselves, or the universe will force us into a corner when we just cannot do anything else but doing that. So you might hope that quietly they also move away from that, but that's not the case. This can show up in many different ways. So I want you to be open-minded when it comes to me, saying a person, a connection. It doesn't necessarily have to be you and just one individual. This could be you in an online platform. It could be you and a co-worker, or just a general, the work environment. This could be you, and just in general, how honest and vulnerable you are about the changes that your life is taking, about the things that you goals, your dreams, your wishes as well. But I am sensing that with the World card, it's like you don't want anything lingering in the dark, and then you have to have a certain level of fear that, oh, if it gets exposed. No, might as well just get it all out there. That's what I'm feeling. It's like you just don't want to hide. And with the Sun card, especially with the Tower and the 9 of Cups, it's like taking off the veil. You see, and it's like something that used to, sometimes when people go on long-term vacations, or they sort of have like a summer house somewhere and they are not there the rest of the year, just there in the summer, people just cover, these their furniture with some blankets and some sheets and things like that for, it's obviously it can be some dust build up and stuff like that, and so it keeps things more preserved. And when you do re-enter the space, you can like remove the things, and it's just more fresh basically. So I'm sensing that you can't just move in an entire new furniture just because certain furniture are like hiding underneath, you know, these blankets. Like they are still there in the room. We just not completely can tell. We can tell the outline of them, but we can't tell the motives and things like that. So that's a little bit an energy I'm feeling, like where a couple of things left either unsaid or unlooked at. This could be an internal thing as well. It's like an internal conversation that needs to take place. But what I'm trying to say with that is that you really have the victory. You see as that bell that used to maybe really be like a red flag. It's like you take that red flag and you're waving it. You see, you're taking away the power of it. It reminds me of a couple of episodes from Catfish when Cammy used to sit behind her webcam with her red flag thingy. The moment when she started waving, she took away the power of someone trying to scheme, someone, you know, trying to make believe something that wasn't true, and she just waves the red flag and everybody instantly knows, okay, you know, you kind of take the power away. So that's a little bit what I'm feeling with like waving this red flag. It's like you're waving goodbye to things that potentially could become a red flag, or problems. I love how they slide on top. Who's sliding on top of this? What is taking its space? Page of Wands. Wow, we have 2 pages. Sorry, we have just a lot of beginning energy with the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Wands and the Tree of Wands. Once again, like I said, when it comes to the cups, when it comes to the Knights and the Wands, like, I'm not worried. Like, I know that you can rebuild. I know that you can, you know, there's many beautiful things for you in the future. It's just detaching from either a thought pattern that you might bring up on this journey. It's something to become conscious about. With the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Wands and the Tree of Wands, understand that even if you start to slowly but surely see some results, it doesn't mean that you don't have another opportunity. That maybe you have to take a couple steps back, you know, go from 3 to the 1. Page of Wands. It's not about the quantity, it's really about the quality. And so the quality of something might take more time to develop, but it brings about much more longevity. Yeah. Okay, we got a lot of cards out. Oh, I told you. We do have 2 pages now. She did show up eventually. Beautiful. Page of Pentacles, 6 of Wands. Wow, the Empress, the 6 of Cups, the 4 of Swords. Much better. The Emperor. I love that for you, Sag, because what I'm already getting is that more lighter, harder energy. And with the 4 of Swords, it brings about this peace in your sword energy. So on a mental level, there's more peacefulness, right? There's a person who's like surrender. Is like, oh, I'm sick, I'm an addict. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna take 2 you know, whatever you take for headaches, and I'm just gonna push through. I am actually going to take a nap and, you know, just rest. Drink some water, rest. My brain eventually, you know, is a little bit overheated. And take that space. Okay. Nine of Cups. Justice. Beautiful. The Lovers. The 3 of Cups and the Page of Cups. Yep. You really are recommitting. There's a commitment, but it's a new commitment. It's just coming from a much more balanced space, Sag. It's beautiful. It's like the moment where you take away, you know, this power, the energy of the 10 of Swords, and you're like, oh, you know what? Your ships is coming in order to take a leave. Okay, you're like, no, I'm going away. But are you letting these people know? Like, here's your sword. Here's your sword. Oh, right here, can't reach it. Oh, yes, I got it. There you go. That's yours. A very special place, to say the least. Nice aim, you know? It's like that energy is like giving it back. You're not taking it. Sorry for hitting the mic. You're not taking that back, or taking it with you. So I see a lot more calmer mind and a more clear-headed space, because what you're building is next level, I have to say. With the Empress and the Six of Wands, you have the Emperor here as well. It's like, it's a beautiful combination. It's almost like giving birth to something that is just way beyond what you could imagine it to become. You see here, she is, as the Empress is giving birth. It's a sign of fertility, giving birth to something. And here you have the Six of Cups. It's slowly but surely growing up. And then it becomes the Emperor, like giving birth to a circumstance, to a lifestyle, an idea, a project, a relationship that just goes beyond what you could have expected to become. But it's also because your headspace is clear. And so with the Knight of Cups and the Justice card as well, it's like, from that space, you're much more balanced into, coming back to a part of yourself that's very giving and very open and very loving. But I feel like it was just, nobody was getting it, or everybody, and you really didn't feel good about it. But it's like everything was sort of, locked off. You're like, I'm closing the tap. This is emotion that I'm seeing. So it's like, here we go. It's an imaginary tap, okay? Close it off. Like, close all the doors, all the water. Nobody's getting anything. And I do feel that it's okay. It's okay to have a space where you're like, I'm going to pour into me, myself, and I. Like a woman who's pregnant, that, you can't expect the same things from a person in your life who is going through a pregnancy, especially when it comes to like the last couple of months. But a lot of times people forget that the first couple of months are also very, very intense, sometimes even more, because there are so many risks that come with the first couple of weeks. But a lot of us, actually deal with, I don't know why they call it morning sickness, because for so many people it's really either at nighttime or it's like through the entire day, especially people who are pregnant with twins. It's a lot. You can't do anything, and some of you may actually have that's literally what you're dealing with like that, quote unquote morning sickness, and it's wiping you out. And I do feel that there is something that comes to you where it's going to help you. It's going to make you feel a lot better again. It's like, oh my gosh, like if I'm going to feel like this for like the next 8 months, because a lot of times if I figure out, well, we're already at 1 month. It's like, if I'm like, the next 8 months, I'm going to feel like this. I don't know, like, how am I supposed to handle all of that? But understand that a couple changes, a couple of things actually will put you back into that Emperor position. Like, you can be both, during your pregnancy. So that's just a side note for someone who may be dealing with that. So it's that energy where we go from all to nothing to a lot more balanced, with the Justice here and the Lovers. It's like you're not making decisions from, I feel mistreated, I don't want to give anymore, people take me for granted, people take my kindness for weakness, kind of going to like nobody's getting nothing. And then it's like, I have some good people in my space, in my corner, and I love to just host a party, or I love to just get people together. I love to show up, of course. I don't mind like being on the phone with this person for an hour and a half. I love this person. Like, they always show up for me as well. It's like, it's a way balance, because you do receive a lot from giving at the same time, but it's giving to the right energy and something that's being reciprocated back to you in their own form. Like, it doesn't have to be exact the same. I mean, the moment we start keeping scores, it's downhill from there. It's just an energy you feel. You feel loved by a person in their way, which reaches you, and you show them love back in their own ways. A lot of times people give love in a way that I kind of love to receive it. And so if your love languages don't align, doesn't have to be identical, but there can be a form of alignment in there, then it feels like both parties are not being filled up when the other party is really pouring, like for real. And so that once again puts you in a position where, hey, it's just a different way of looking at it, but it makes me feel a lot better about the situation. That doesn't mean I have to continue to go and pour things in here, but it's not really necessarily my or their fault that it's not necessarily growing, that it's not working out. Isn't because we're not pouring in enough. It's because we're both not capable of fulfilling our own versus each other's needs in this way and in this loop that we've been looping in. And so with love, we set it free. So understand there's a lot of space for you during Leo season. You know, it's your fellow fire sign, so let your fire just, fire up, passion, and have fun. And music is very important this month as well, Sag. And just be yourself. Just do your, I know you don't show that side to everybody, but you do really have a goofy side. And, it's something that people love to see, and where actually it fills you up with energy as well. So make some space to have some fun and to enjoy yourself. And remind yourself that you do have a good group of people around you. It may not necessarily be the ones that you expect. Some just have great potential, but it just hasn't been planted yet, Like, for example, last year, I grew I grew little cherry tomatoes on, basically balcony cherry tomatoes, and from scratch, like from a seed that I got. And so they were beautiful and lush, and they were so sweet, and it was just amazing. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take one. And so I took one. I squeezed it into this little tea filter bag that you can buy, and I kind of washed it and allowed the seeds to stay in, allowed to completely let it dry, which is just from one cherry cherry tomato, just from one. And I put it somewhere with other seeds that I keep, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna take a couple of them, because there's so many seeds that come from one little tiny tomato. It's crazy. And at the moment, my balcony is regrowing, like I think 9 of 10 tomato plants from that one little cherry. And the potential, because I still have some left from that one little cherry tomato. But if I keep them in there, like, obviously they have great potential, which I know now because I used a couple of them. And they're the first one, because I also bought some new seeds actually from the store this year, which is a different color. I had yellow ones, and I would like to, for the color and for the taste, like I would love to add some red ones as well. The red ones, I mean, the plants are growing, but they're not showing necessarily any sign of a growing tomato yet. I mean, they are flowering right now, and August is flowering season. But the yellow ones, I'm seeing like tomatoes, like they're out there, like I see them, they're growing, they're still green, but they are growing with the day from that one little, and that's the thing. You may actually have people around you that can, become this whole fruitful group of people in your life, but maybe it's people that still are in the draw, they are there and the potential is there. It's just that you haven't put it in such a circumstance where it has potential to grow, right? So you might find out that you have some more potential situations that you had, space was just too crowded in order to like really remember or not remember, to attend to it just yet. Just yet. All right. One card. I'm sorry, I've been just shuffling and rambling and everything, but if you're still here, I guess you don't mind. So, if you also are growing something this year, please let me know what you're growing. Ooh, I love this. Right. We have Freya. He says phases and cycles. There is a beginning within every ending. Illusions are revealed and released. Wow. Wasn't I just talking about these cycles? You see, and there is a beginning in every ending. Archangel Michael is here, which is very strong and powerful. So if you don't know, just call upon the help of Archangel Michael this month. It's trusting heaven. It says you are safe. Angels stand close. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. Also, Krishna is showing up. And it says devotion. Trust your spiritual guidance, Sagittarius. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. Your commitment has been recognized. You are loved unconditionally. Beautiful. Really, really beautiful. All right. I'm sending you lots of love and light. And just, continue to grow and go up on this pathway. Because I really think that you're on the right track, Sag. You really, really are. All right. Be back soon, but not too soon. Because I'm going to allow this reading to play out a little bit. And yeah, I love you guys. Mwah. Bye. Bye, Sag.